Welcome, welcome. Leg 2 of the Appalachian trip. We are in Georgia. We're going to fly from Richard B. Russell up to Blairsville, Georgia in the Bonanza. So let's do a little flight planning. So I think that the weather is automatically set to VFR conditions. So they're not going to experience the clouds and stuff that's going on currently. You can see if you're familiar with SkyVector, red is IFR conditions, pink is low IFR. So this is at broken 400 feet. I don't think we're going to have any of that today. So we'll see. But we got 65 nautical miles from leg 2 to here, Blairsville. Nice runway. Do the windy one as well. You can see if we're doing real world, it would be we'd be in the soup the entire time. And it does have a GPS approach in the Blairsville, so might try to do that just for the fun of it. But it's so airport elevation's at 1,900 feet. It's got a nice long 5,000 foot runway, asphalt. So might try to program that in just to do it for the fun of it. And you can see our line from, we're in the northwest corner of Georgia. Up here you can see. So we are at Richard B. Russell. Cruise over here. It's kind of in a bowl. Should be a pretty approach. Nice runway. All right. Here we go. All right, so it moved me on the airport property. So let's make sure everything is set up. Parking brake pulled. Lean on the ground. So it's currently on the right tank. Let's see what my fuel status is looking like. I got full tanks, so no issue there. PITA is off, so work left to right. Bats, alternator, AC's off, avionics is on. Lights are good. Good, good, good. Go ahead and go approach flaps. And it's picking up some clouds, but I think that's default setting. I think that's the game setting it. I don't think it's going off any real world, because I think, well, I know looking at the METARs, the clouds are below 1,000 feet in this whole area. So, okay, so we are flying up to Kilo Delta Zulu Juliet. Juliet. Blairsville. Yep. All right. Activate. Distance is, yep, 65 nautical miles. That checks. CDI to GPS. All right. So we're going east, so we're going odd thousands. So you can see that we got some hills on the way. So we're going from this Richard B. Russell to Blairsville. You can see the minimum altitudes VFR in these areas. So we're going to go ahead and go up to 5,500. And evaluate from there. Oops, wrong knob. All right, so 5,500 and other one. There we go. Set the speed. So we're light. Should be able to do 150 knots on the climb out. All right, wind is up and loaded. GPS is loaded. That's good. Check. Get my camera set up. Alright. Good. Alright. Mixture rich. Cow flaps open. Parking brake released. Alright, let's get out of here. Full power. Everything's in the green. Airspeed's alive. At a runway, gear coming up. Flaps coming up. Trim for the climb. Start my right turn for course. Gusty conditions. I can feel that wind knocking me around. Pull the prop back a little bit. All right, autopilot on. So it's on heading mode, and then I just set the nav button after, so GPS is in gray. So what it's going to do is it's going to fly the heading until it intersects the magenta line, and then it'll continue on as GPS nav. So I forgot to turn my heats on, and that is right here. Won't need them on a day like today, but good habit to have. Alright, so we got 60 nautical miles, roughly 23 minutes at this airspeed. That will decrease once we get to cruising altitude, and we pick up speed. So we're climbing at 150 knots, almost 1,000, over 1,000 foot of vertical speed. So it's captured the magenta line. It's turning on course. 1,000 feet below, or less than 1,000 feet to go until we get to 5,500. Airport down there. See the end of the runway going this way. That puts us in checks. Charlie Zulu Lima. Alright, capture the altitude. Back off the manifold pressure down to 21. And then pull the prop back. And normally I would lean for a fuel burn around 14 gallons an hour or so, but the sim hadn't quite figured out the fuel burn on the engines with either turbines or these 100 low lead engines. Cow flaps closed. Alright, so around 30 nautical miles, I will switch the tanks, which will be down here. That way, hopefully by the time we get to our destination, they'll be just about balanced. Alright, so I figured using the en route time, got about 18 minutes en route. I can use some of this time instead of cutting to do flight planning for the next leg. So, so we're on leg 2 right now. The next one would fly up here to Bryson City in North Carolina. Field elevation of 1,900 feet. It's a private airport. 2,200 feet. Nice. I've flown out of a 2,700 foot grass runway most of my life. So that is pretty short, especially for a Bonanza. Luckily, at that field elevation, we're not fully loaded, and it's not July with a temperature of 90 degrees and high humidity. So there's a couple of airplanes based on the field. So downdrafts in the area, especially during spring, windy conditions. Okay, so let's check out. So this one, we definitely have some elevation to deal with. We're gonna have to be probably, 7,500 feet VFR cruising altitudes to get over that, because this looks like 5,000 foot or 4,900 foot is the tops of the mountains. So, so I would go 6,500, but that's a westbound VFR cruising altitude. Okay, so we're gonna go higher. That means we'll probably have to. Let's see, we got about 30 miles, so 158 miles to 182 miles, so a little bit under 30 miles to gain over 3,000 feet. So that's doable. We won't have to take off and circle the airport. I think we can just climb, because we'll be at, I can always back the speed back and increase my vertical speed to get to a higher elevation quicker. So okay, so and it's only a 50 nautical mile, or fitness 50 miles. It's only 45 nautical miles. No, 43 nautical miles is this leg right here. So it's a lot shorter leg. Let's see if I can find it on here. There we go. Bryson City. So that'll be the direction we'll be coming from right there. So some hills, but they're not right over top of the airport. That'd be pretty with that river right there. All right. 36 nautical miles, good enough. Let me see if I can do this without shutting the engine off. All right. Everything looks good. 13 minutes left. Nice lake there. I don't have my shoulder harness on. Don't report me to the FAA. Got a lot of little fingers on the lake. Be fun to go fish those. Definitely tell we're in the mountains now, or the foothills. I know these are not mountains compared to many other places in the world, but it's still pretty foreign to me. "31 nautical miles to go." I've never noticed this placard before. When utility doors, that means the back doors, are removed, do not exceed 166 knots indicated. So that means if you pulled these doors right here, don't fly any faster than 166 knots. Because you see these used for photo missions. And I think they maybe use them for aerial surveying as well, but that'd be cool. That would be a fun experience to pull the doors and go fly around. I've only flown in one airplane that you could pull the doors on while you're flying, and it was a fun experience. It was it's called a Symphony. It was based on, it was the certified aircraft of the Glasair, I think it's the Glaystar, kind of like the Sportsman, but it was the certified version of it. I think they built it in Canada for a little bit. And the flight school I was written from had 2 of them, and you could pull the doors on them and fly at all the typical speeds, because I had a 160 horsepower engine in it, and it would cruise at 115 knots. It was a good flying aircraft, but just cruise around on a summer day with the doors off. It was just so nice. Fun experience. Alright, so let's see. So, activated the GPS approach. Alright, so now the fly toward Jiven. And intercept the localizer, or in this case the GPS magenta line. And then fly the approach. So looking at 6,400 feet is what ATC would clear me down to. So I need to go up. To 6,400 or intercept. I'll just intercept lower. Since we're doing it as a practice, because we'll be descending at Jiven down anyway, so 4,200 will be the next step down. I'll descend at 500 feet a minute and then down to the runway. So you can see it's already picking up the glide slope. Alright, picking up the localizer, I just blew right past it. So it's coming back in. So we'll switch to approach. Alright, so start configuring to slow down. So 154 knots is my gear speed, so gear away. And approach flaps. So glide slope is on. You can see that the diamond has been captured, and so the GPS will track that down. So it's already started a 600-foot descent down. You can probably see the runway out there. There it is right there. Alright, so we'll go ahead and prop full in. Mixture as needed. So we got 3 green, approach flaps are in. We're 1.5 miles from the next waypoint. That GPS threads the needle through these hills. That's why if you go missed approach, I guarantee it's follow runway heading and climb. There's no right turn or maybe a left, but alright, so 2.5 miles to 1 PO, and then we got 4 nautical miles to the runway. So we're 6 miles out, well, 7 miles out. Slow it down a little bit. Fairly stable approach so far. GPS is doing an outstanding job. A little bit of wind out there. Winds are straight off the nose. Now they're a little bit off the right side, but still favoring the nose. Gusting though. I saw the highest is like 13. All right. We got plenty of runway, so we can keep the airspeed decent on the approach and not worry about floating too bad. All right, 3 miles out. Full flaps. Looking for 90 knots. And we'll try to be around 80 on the coming over the threshold. So, all right, autopilot's away. It's got a displaced threshold, so I don't need to be right over these trees. Coming in. The wind is definitely more turning into a little bit of a crosswind. I gotta give a little bit of left rudder, dip a wing into it. All right. I like it. Whoa, come on now. It does not want to stop. Or does not want to turn, I should say. since I know it just dumps me wherever on my next leg. We'll just park it right here. Leg complete. All right. That was fun. Pretty approach. On to the next one. Next time we're headed to North Carolina. See you then.